Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves from just outside Louisville, Kentucky, and in Maryland, just outside DC, is my good friend and esteemed colleague, John Webster. John, how are you doing there in the land of pleasant living?
Gary, I'm doing great, man. Everything's going well. Another great weekend of sports. Unbelievable weekend of sports. I mean, look at us today. We're going to talk NFL football. We're going to talk Major League Baseball, and we're going to talk some NCAA football. But before we get into it, got to say hey to the traffic cop, the director. John Pitt, how you doing, and how was your vacation, man?
It was great. I was in Miami for the annual Caribbean Carnival. Good times.
Oh, my
Great
goodness. And you came back, huh?
And I came back to some little surprising. So, yeah, I was telling John earlier, the Jaguars, the Seahawks, the Texans, and the Lions, these are the New York Football Giants' next four opponents. So they could be 9-1 when they play us on Thanksgiving. What is going on in the NFC East?
Wow. I don't want to use the P word parody for some of the things that we saw over the weekend, but yesterday was just one of those days. I didn't get a chance, honestly, to watch too much football. I'm kind of up to my neck in college basketball right now, but just from what I saw with the scores, that it was just, it must have been a full moon or something, because for teams to score 10, for my Packers to score just 10 points, that was one that really shocked me. And I mean, and for the Bucs to lose to a Pittsburgh team that in my opinion is rebuilding, no matter how they want to spin it, this could be the first losing season that Mike Tomlin has there in Pittsburgh. Could be. Until yesterday, now anything is possible. The Ravens, I'm not sold on the Ravens all of a sudden. That was one where, again, afterward, where I heard that they blew another fourth quarter lead and just, were abysmal with play calling and execution. So I don't know, maybe it's just that mid-October lull, when, teams haven't had buys yet and their bodies are really starting to pay the price. I can't really put my finger on it. John Webster, what's your take on what you've seen?
Really interesting weekend. I mean, you watched the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You watched the interesting game with who was that? Who else got beat yesterday? The Jets took out the Packers, which I know that broke your heart, Gary.
Yeah, but it didn't surprise me, because I think the Jets might be turning that corner. And I know in New York they probably say, we get to this point every year if they have a solid start, but something just looks different about the Jets that that they might actually believe they might actually have the lineup that they want.
They're going to be interesting. We will see. But I tell you what, Gary, the NFC East, I think we did right by picking that division to showcase and to analyze, because last night, Dallas and Philadelphia came out on top. They're still undefeated. Dallas now has 2 losses. And lo and behold, next week, when Dallas plays again, Dak Prescott will be the starting quarterback. There's no doubt in my mind. Last night, Cooper Rush, the game they lost is not his fault. No. You can't put it all on him, but he didn't do enough to say, okay, 1, they didn't win, and 2, he didn't do enough to say, when Dak comes back, we're still going to go with you. So Philadelphia is rough. They are a juggernaut. They have all the pieces. I mean, Jalen Hurts is playing extremely well. That defense is getting after you. They're tough. They're absolutely positively tough. And, I'll say this about Dallas. I did not expect Dallas to go 3-1 without Prescott. Cooper Rush has done a tremendous job. The whole team has done a tremendous job. Mike McCarthy, hats off to him. He kept them going. I think right now, what are they now? 4-2. You know, 4-2. You can't ask for much more than that. You can't ask for much more than that. Now, Gary, they had a Thursday night game. It was in Chicago. It was the Chicago Bears playing the Washington Commanders. The Commanders won 12-7. And that was some of the most boring and absurdly ridiculous football I've ever seen. I can't find words for what happened on Thursday night. They won, but it was
ugly. I mean, you could just call it what it is. It was just ugly football. It was a repeat of the Denver game the week before.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they just, both of these teams just look completely inept. And even though Washington won, I still feel like that's a low point for that team. That there's something. It's the culture, the dysfunctional culture is now trickling down to the field. I mean, two able-bodied, excuse me, I shouldn't say able-bodied, two coaches who I thought were of good football minds just don't seem to have it, or whatever they have, it's not being passed on to the players. They look like they were literally calling plays on the fly. I mean, whatever that, was on that little wristband or something like that, that team did not execute whatever game plan they came up with. They looked like they were making it up. I mean, that was more than say just throw dirt on the Washington football team. I almost felt sorry for them. I almost felt sorry for the Bears because, again, these are two storied franchises that just look absolutely lost out there right now. The Bears have shown some moments of promise. I do think that they have a decent quarterback, but when the rest of the guys around him play like trash, and I can't say it any nicer than that, they're not going to help him develop. In much the same way, Carson Wentz is still young enough to be a serviceable quarterback. I still believe that. I said serviceable, not a star quarterback, but the play calling around him. I mean, when you got receivers like he has, and it's like he can't get the ball there, they can't be in the right spot. That sometimes it seems like they barely know what holes to hit when they're rushing the ball. I don't know where that starts. I don't know if that team has quit on Rivera or what, John. You see it more every day there in the area. You tell me.
I don't know. Rivera is the kind of guy, he stands up for his players. So I don't think the players have quit on him, but I do think it's a very awkward situation. There's a lot going on with Washington off the football field, which you're very aware of, Gary, in regards to Snyder and some of the things going on with the organization. I think sometimes that has a way of trickling into the team.
A distraction, maybe? I mean,
it can be a distraction. It can be a morale killer. It's just so much going on with them. And what's happening with the organization or what it's not happening with the organization, it's rough. I think, Wentz has a broken finger, is going to need surgery, so he's out probably 4 to 6 weeks, and more than likely Taylor Heineke is going to be starting. So you and Pitt both know I like Heineke. I don't have anything against Wentz, but I just always rooted for Heineke. So we'll see how that works out. I mean, it's unfortunate for Wentz. He's come in, he's tried to do everything he can, but I just think there is a proverbial cloud above this Washington organization. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. That rain cloud will not go away until some things are adjusted at the top and swept out at the top. I said that before, and I'll still say it today.
Yeah,
Now,
I agree wholeheartedly, John. To quote our good friend, Mr. Ken Beatrice from back in the day, success and failure starts at the top. And with this team, I want to say maybe out of the 20 plus seasons that he's owned this team, they've only had maybe 5 winning campaigns. Even when they won a division a couple of years ago, I mean, it was like what, a 7-9 record. I mean, what does that say? But yeah, it's really become untenable. I don't want to get into any kind of deep dive into what needs to happen with ownership. That's a little too controversial for what we try to do here. But I look at the Cowboys by contrast, and I feel like that's a team that could have cashed it in, could have mailed it in after Dak went down. They put Cooper Rush in there, and they go 3-1 with him. What you were talking about, your surprise, I wasn't that surprised. I thought they would do it a different way, maybe with Zeke, maybe just try to grind it out. And to Cooper Rush's credit, he's managed the game very, very well, and that's all you really have to do as a quarterback. And as great as it would be to have an Aaron Rodgers who didn't have a good day yesterday, Tom Brady, same thing. Patrick Mahomes, we forgot about the game last night, what happened in the final minute there. That, it's great to have a superstar Super Bowl winning quarterback, but, teams win Super Bowls, teams win games with quarterbacks that can just manage the game. They stay within themselves, stay in their lane, understand what their strengths and weaknesses are, and try to maximize one and minimize the other. And I think that's what's gotten Dallas there, and it's probably what they told him. Don't do too much. Just do what you can. We'll simplify the game for you.
Gary, that's very interesting you said that, because that's what the New York Giants have been doing, managing the game. Daniel Jones is doing a great job. They're 5-1. Mm-hmm. 5-1 because they're managing the game. Look at Daniel Jones yesterday, stayed within himself. They were losing. Ravens give up another lead in the fourth quarter, unfortunately. And also, you talk about trying to do too much. Lamar Jackson tried to make a big play, and had the interception. Is that why they lost? No, that's not the only reason they lost.
The penalty, I think there was a penalty before that.
They had a penalty. They had 3rd and 1. They would have gotten the first down, but they had illegal motion. They moved it back 5 yards to make it 3rd and 6. Hiked the ball. I don't know if Lamar Jackson was looking at the center when he hiked it, went right past him, picked the ball up, tried to run away, and then he threw it right into triple coverage.
Yeah. I don't know what Greg Roman is calling up there. And gosh, again, we can sit here and Monday evening quarterback, but there's just something I think is in the play calling. I wonder if Lamar, like you said, is doing too much and is failing at it. Like the previous Sunday, he did things to get him in position to win a game. Yesterday, he does things that basically cost them the game. I don't know whether
Gary, I won't say it cost them the game. I know.
He committed a mistake that cost them the game. I'll put it that way. That cost him a chance to win the game.
Yeah, and the thing I really feel bad about Jackson with is that the elephant that is in the room. He's looking to sign a new contract. Mm-hmm. He's going to be his own agent. I hope it works out for him. I really do. But sometimes maybe that's in the back of his mind as well, and he's yesterday or not yesterday, he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He should be paid as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but you know how management is, and you know how they will find a way to hold things against you, and mm-hmm. You bounce back to the other side, and you look at Daniel Jones and how he's holding things together for the Giants. The guy in the 5-1, Saquon Barkley's back playing really good ball, and he's healthy. and the defense is oh my goodness, they are ferocious. So you look at that, and a couple bounces go the Giants' way, they're 5-1. A couple bounces have gone against the Ravens, they're 3-3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With the Giants, I think a lot of it has to do with at their skill positions. I mean, especially with having Barkley back, that you realize what kind of dimension he gives you, or how many dimensions he gives you when he's healthy, underneath, deep stuff. I mean, he can help a quarterback extend plays, and that's what he's done in essence. With Daniel Jones. I don't know, like I have a lot of faith in Daniel Jones. I thought when he came into the league, I thought he had potential. It's hard following a not necessarily a legend, but a guy who won 2 Super Bowls for you, and I think there was that. But I always thought that the guy had enough in him, enough talent as a passer and a runner, to be what he was, like he was in college. Again, he's managing the game well, but it helps you manage the game better when you have a talented guy like Saquon Barkley.
He's absolutely back on top of his game. The Giants are back on top of their game. The Cowboys are back on top of their game. The Eagles never stop being on top of theirs. Mm-hmm. And the Commanders.
And the Eagles haven't played their best yet, in my opinion. I think they're building.
And the Commanders are in the basement looking up at everybody. Some things never change.
Yeah. The weird thing about the Commanders is that with that schedule, that this schedule that they navigated, that I really had it had their record maybe around 1-5 when we were counting wins. I still think that they're like a 7-10 team, but I don't know. It's just something like I wonder if the Commanders can play in spite of maybe some of the plays or coaching that they're getting right now. Because I'm telling you, that team looks lost. Maybe, like you said, Heineke can be the kind of can go back to being that kind of quarterback that everybody was rallying around. I just don't know, because I don't know what is around him. You know that better than I do. I just don't know how good everybody around him is, whether he's got that kind of support to be successful.
Well, only time will tell, my friend. Only time will tell.
Yeah. Hey, let's move on to baseball. We've got a Game 5 in the ALDS tonight with Cleveland and New York. Cleveland has looked like the aggressor. They've looked like the better team in this series. They probably should have closed it out last night, but didn't. Again, that's one I only got a chance to maybe hear one inning on the radio. But from what I saw, the first 2 or 3 games of this series, that they're a team that I want to say is realizing how good they are later in the year. It took like this long for them to really come together as a team. They won their division, and everything that helped them really kind of pull away from everybody in the Central, it's carried over to the postseason. They've got pitching, they've got hitting, and the Yankees they just look a little off right now. And I think it's starting to get inside their heads when they had that August swoon, where their lead got cut down to single digits. And I think maybe some of that focus on Aaron Judge's pursuit of the home run record became more of a distraction than they thought. I thought he was pressing. Maybe he is still pressing, and it's carried over.
All I can say, Gary, I just hope whatever's wrong with the Yankees continues to stay wrong with the Yankees. That's what I hope. I also believe that the best chance for Cleveland to win this series was last night on Sunday night. I hope I'm wrong. I do not see Cleveland winning tonight. Nothing would make me happier than to see them win and me be wrong. But I just don't see it happening tonight. I think, the Bronx Bombers are back at home. They're playing in Yankee Stadium. They're going to get it done. and they're going to come through. They're in a rain delay right now, but we'll see what happens with them. We'll see if they're able to pull it out. I really think they will. I really think they will. I should not have said Bronx Bombers. Please forgive me. Let me just say the New York Yankees. Forgive me for saying Bronx Bombers. They should not have said that.
Is that just to pay respect to your team up the Parkway? Not to seem like a like you're rooting for the former Baltimore team that now plays in New York. Remember, they started in Baltimore.
Are we referring to the Mets?
Oh, no. Well, the Mets just happen to own Baltimore, but that's another story. The thing about baseball, about these playoffs, is that the team that I thought was going to run the table, the Dodgers, they're out. The Braves, who somehow won 101 games in a division that, I thought was kind of the shakiest.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're out. The Phillies are playing with house money, much like the Guardians are. And, now they move on. I don't know. Wow. I mean, who would have seen the Padres beating the Dodgers and the Phillies, beating the Braves? I sure didn't, because John, and I'm gonna hand it to you. Your faith in the Padres in general, I think it's paid off. I know you said they weren't going to catch the Dodgers, but again, they were still a solid wild card, and now they're proving it. And you know why they're proving it, in my opinion? That pickup of Juan Soto, he's finally settled into that lineup. They don't necessarily need Tatis, and they've got pitching, John. That's what matters in this postseason. You would have thought it would help the New York Mets, but they're out too.
They have and also with San Diego, they got a heck of a closer in Hader. He slams the door shut as soon as he comes in there. I never in my wildest imagination that I see San Diego beating the Dodgers, but hey, it happens. They moved on. You look at the National League, you have a 111 win team, the Dodgers, out of the playoffs. You have 201 win teams, the Mets and the Braves, out of the playoffs. And you have the Padres and the Phillies playing to see who's going to go to the World Series. Who would ever thunk it? And on the American League side, we have my Astros sitting there waiting, because I want Dusty to get a ring so bad, man. That's all I want. I want Dusty to get a ring. I'm not trying to provoke you into a conversation about cheating.
And you know what, John? I'm over it. Honestly, I am over it, because Dusty is a man of integrity. He does, they're a different ball club. They're a much different ball club. I mean, Garrett Cole is pitching in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Several of the guys from those World Series teams are elsewhere. He, in essence, has done it his way with different guys. I can't say anything bad. And like I said, I'm over it, because really there's nothing you can do. You can't go back and really try to change it. I lay blame on that with Rob Manfred, but again, I've moved on from that one. I just believe this might be the Astros' year, and if they win it, congratulations to Dusty, because nobody deserves it more than him. And it's not just because he's been around for a long time, but because he's been one hell of a manager.
I second that, my friend. Absolutely second it.
Yeah. John, college football was interesting over the weekend. Actually, I think we might have seen the game of the year in Knoxville between Alabama and Tennessee. That to me, John, was one of the best college games. And, I'm watching it in the press box at Kentucky. And we're just, with every play, we were just like, wow, what, it was before the game. So, we could cheer in the press box. But Tennessee that's a dangerous team right now. If I'm Georgia, I'm thinking, now I got to look out for Tennessee. The preseason picks for the SEC East were Georgia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. And the Kentucky part still looks good. I mean, they beat Mississippi State on Saturday night. I mean, they slowed them down to a crawl. But Tennessee to go out there and score 52 points on Alabama against that defense, I don't know I mean, that's just impressive. Hendon Hooker, to me, should be mentioned as a Heisman Trophy candidate. Do you agree?
Yes, he should. He had one heck of a game. He's been having one heck of a season. Tennessee is just, whew, you can't. Their offense is now. The defense left a little bit to be desired. They're missing what, 2 or 3 starters or something like that. But that offense is just a skill position is just, whoo, they're unbelievable. Now, Saban this week, he's going to have a few things to say to his players, things that we don't say on the Daily Deuce.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Tennessee, the most impressive thing about Tennessee is just the speed that they go, that in which they can score. I'm trying to think of which game that it might have been like a couple weeks ago, where when they were playing LSU, they're almost, if they were an NBA team, they'd score 2 points a minute or something, or they're like one of those 2 to 5 point a minute offenses. That's how fast they move the ball. That's how fast they don't give defenses rather time to set up. It used to be kind of they used to call that the run and shoot. They want to try to call it something like the air raid, but the air raid predicated more on a lot of underneath passes that they go for yards after the catch. But just the quickness with which he executes that offense is scary, John.
They are, like I said, unbelievable. They are a tough team. They are an absolutely tough team.
Yeah. And I'm not really worried about Alabama right now. Yeah, you're right. Saban probably had some choice words for his team afterward. He's probably throwing off his visor and his straw hat and all the hats that he wears in practice this week, especially trying to get that defense to tighten up and everything. But sorry about the noise in the background. I've got dogs now, John. I'll tell you about that later. But yeah, Alabama, all you have to worry about if you're Alabama is winning that division. You got to beat Ole Miss. You don't have to worry about anything else but that. Just bounce back this week against Mississippi State, which is going to be tough because you got to try to slow down that offense. And no doubt they are going to be sore from being held to 17 points and not scoring a touchdown until the second quarter, and really rushing for just 22 yards. Mississippi State is not known for running the ball, but they've been averaging over 100 yards, and their backs can run the ball and they can catch the ball. That's what's made them so good. But now you go to Alabama, they're smarting. Both teams are smarting. It's going to be an interesting game. That game could be a dogfight.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait till Saturday.
I can't wait either. That's the great thing about sports, John, that, games like that really give us a lot to talk about. We got baseball, we have NFL, there's more NFL. And in another week, John, we're going to be talking about college basketball. And before we go, North Carolina is the preseason number 1 in the AP poll, and Kentucky's number 4. What do you think about that?
Early, preseason predictions, they're important, but they're not important because it really doesn't matter until the end of the year. Kentucky has the player of the year back, Sheboy. Carolina,
who's injured right now, by the way.
Yeah, but they're going to be tough. And don't forget about that team out west called Gonzaga. They are always in the thick
number
of that.
2. Yeah, number 2.
We'll see what happens.
And they play Kentucky this year. They played, those two start the series now. And that it's going to be interesting to watch. Carolina, I think, it was a surprise number 1 from the standpoint. I didn't realize how much they had coming back. But they didn't sneak up on anybody last year. Now they can't sneak up on anybody. And kudos to Hubert Davis for putting that together.
Can't wait. I cannot wait. a lot of sports to be covered.
Yep. Well, folks, thank you for watching. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're on YouTube and Facebook. Watch us, and we're going to have some more stuff next week to talk about. John, thank you so much. Always been fun. It just goes by too fast.
Fastest moving 30 minutes we've ever seen, Gary. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching us. Check out some sports again this week. If you're a Washington Commanders fan, don't give up on them. Try to watch them. I know it's rough. It's like watching paint dry. But hey, stick in there, hang in there, watch some sports. Come back and see us next week. Take care.